I'm Dabo Swinney, head football coach at Clemson University. Well, I think it's a great tribute to him, first of all, and a great reflection of his work ethic that he's put in to be a great player. You know, there's a lot of talented guys and a lot of good players, but to become great, you've got to do the ordinary things better than everybody else, and I think that's what Daquan Bowers exemplifies. He really bought into taking care of his body, and really the little things that he needed to improve in his game, so that he could go from being a very good player to the best player, and that's what he's done, and he separated himself, and awful proud of him in the season that he had here at Clemson, leading the nation in sacks. And again, he's had to overcome a lot of things, but he's a perfect example of what happens when you combine great work ethic and perseverance with talent, and you get a great player like Daquan. Well, the biggest thing with him last year was consistency. You know, he was a good player as a freshman and a sophomore. Don't get me wrong, he was a good player, but not a dominant player, not a great player. A great player, a dominant player, shows up every week, every play, when you turn the film on, every single play. And that was the challenge to him, and he needed to do some things. You know, he was about 290. Well, he got his weight down to 273, and really got committed to having that edge available to him as well. Got very serious in the weight room. Really studied the game, and became a much more knowledgeable player. And so those were the things that, as we sat down last spring and talked about, hey, how do we get you to be a great player? Here's the formula, But it's one thing to talk about it. It's all about the application. I mean, you have to do it, and he gets all the credit because he went and did it, and I'm awful proud of him for that. But his God-given abilities are God was in a good mood when they made Daquan Bowers, that's for sure. Because you don't see many guys with that type of size and explosiveness that can turn speed into power like he can. So he's got a great future in front of him. I think his name's going to be called real early in the draft, and I look forward to seeing where he ends up. Well, I would just want to tell him to stay humble, to keep his eyes on the Lord, and understand where all his gifts come from, and to go impact other people's lives. And that's go make other people better, and be a giver. Those are the things that I would tell him, and don't ever forget where he comes from, and that's down there in Bamberg and Clemson. And I just know he'll be a great ambassador for this university for many years to come, a lot like several other players are. But and also I would tell him that I'm always here for him. All he's got to do is pick up the phone and call me. I'd do anything in the world for him. Well, you better have a big dose of patience. It's a very difficult profession to break into. You gotta pay your dues, and that's not easy to do, especially nowadays in this world we live in, where everybody wants everything instantly, and there's no shortcuts. I mean, it's just a lot of hard work. You have to develop as many relationships as you possibly can. Get out and meet people, go to clinics, try to work some camps, volunteer, whatever it is. Just get your foot in a door somewhere, and then whenever you get that opportunity, whatever level it is, make yourself indispensable. It all starts with the type of attitude that you approach it with, and I think that's important. Whether you're assigned to go pick somebody up, draw cards, or wash clothes, just be the best at whatever it is, and do it with a smile on your face, and eventually people recognize that type of work ethic, and people want to be around guys that have that positive energy. So just keep knocking on doors, and sooner or later you'll get your chance. But you got to study the game. You got to learn. You got to be a student. You got to get out and work at it, and don't be afraid to start wherever. It's hard to get a GA spot. It's hard to, oftentimes, hey, maybe it's somebody or that you played there. So again, If you have a lot of relationships, tap into those. If you don't, you got to get out and start developing them, and then be patient and just don't let anybody outwork you.
Kevin Steele, defensive coordinator at Clemson University. Well, you're all, as a coach, you're around the players so much you become a family. I mean, they become like sons to you, or more in some ways, because they go out there and work so hard. So the thing you want to do is you want to see them rewarded for their effort, for their dedication, and for the time that they've put in to be the best that they can be. And Daquan is the kind of young man that he bought into the process, believed in what he was being asked to do, led others to do it. But more importantly for him is that he went out and did it at a high level. Well, I mean, he did have a lot of big plays. There was actually two that kind of, one on a run and one on a pass against Auburn. We had a little what we call a jet sweep, and he came off the line of scrimmage, played the quarterback, and tackled the jet sweep for a 4-yard loss. And he moved so quick. To see that body move that quick was unbelievable. And then probably the pass rush that jumps out was probably just a 4-man rush off the edge. He was in a jet rush and took the tackle one hand into his chest and walked him back to the quarterback and sacked the tackle and the quarterback at the same time. It's pretty impressive. Well, we're always, it's about improvement. We philosophically believe you don't stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. So, everybody has, no matter what your talent level, even the greatest players that play the game have things that they can do better. So we were always, working with Daquan to improve his weaknesses, because his strengths are pretty natural. And so he did that. Probably the biggest thing was just become a player who dominates your opponent, the person you line up against every down. Well, the only reason that if I've had any success, it's two reasons. Excuse me. The first would be have good players around you like Daquan Bowers. The second would be is have mentors. People who have done well in the profession. For me, like Dom Capers, Tom Osborne, Coach Bowden, Johnny Majors, people like that that you've been around, Nick Saban. And just learn as much as you can from him all the time. Never stop learning. Well, we feel like if he stays healthy, he has the potential to be as good as any. And the advice is just don't change. Be true to yourself, because he's a special person, and his abilities will represent what he's asked to do very well.